Alright, so I want to go ahead and take a moment to explain this makeup work opportunity. So this is the homepage for our Canvas site. Got a video of Survivor's Eye of the Tiger because we are in the home stretch, need a little motivation, musical motivation. So you'll notice below that we have a link to the course syllabus and calendar, a link to the revised grade and project breakdown, and then a link to the makeup work opportunity. So let's take a look at the makeup work opportunity. Okay, so if you click on that link, it'll take you to this document, but this is also found in the module section of Canvas. You'll notice it as the very last module of the semester, so I guess next week's module if you wanted to think of it that way. So let me read through this. Students may complete up to 4 practice sessions to make up for any unsubmitted minor projects and or unsubmitted revisions. One practice session can count for one unsubmitted or incomplete minor project. And so if a minor project is incomplete, it's because it needed to be revised but maybe wasn't revised. So for example, if you needed to revise the annotated bibliography but you didn't do that, then that would be considered incomplete. 3 practice sessions must be completed to count for an unsubmitted revision of major essay project number 1. So if you go back into Turnitin and you notice that the polished draft for major essay project 1, that was the essay where we were focusing on Neil deGrasse Tyson's cosmic perspective, you'll notice that if you have a note where it says revise not ready yet, then that project is considered incomplete. So you have 2 options. You could either complete the revision, so you'd take all the feedback that I provided on your draft, plus all of the things that you've been learning as we progress throughout the semester, from Habits of the Creative Mind, Little Seagull Handbook, etc. You'll complete a revision of that particular essay. Or if you would rather focus your attention on these practice sessions, you can complete 3 practice sessions to make up for an unsubmitted revision of Major Essay Project 1. So you would have to do 3 to count for a makeup for the revision of Major Essay Project 1. Now, everybody needs to submit Major Essay Project 2. So you can't say, oh, well, maybe I'm just going to not submit Major Essay Project 2, but do all 4 of these practice sessions to make up for that. That will not count. Okay, so you need to submit your polished draft of Major Essay Project 2 regardless. So let me continue reading through here. The practice sessions must be completed according to their individual guidelines. For example, if the practice session specifies that you spend a certain amount of time researching or writing, then you must adhere to that time. So for example, if the practice session says in the individual instructions for that practice session, if it says that you need to spend 1 hour researching a particular idea or whatever it is, then you would need to spend that time. Or if it says spend 30 minutes reflecting and writing, then you would need to spend 30 minutes reflecting and writing. So whatever it is that it specifies, you would need to complete that as specified. If the practice session instructs you to write an essay, which some of them do, they say, after you've thought about this, write an essay that explores blah, blah, blah. So if it asks you to write an essay, then you would need to write an essay of at least 2 full pages in length. Okay, so you would still use paragraphs. You'd still think about writing an essay the way that we've been learning throughout the semester, but it just needs to be at least 2 full pages in length, and of course formatted according to MLA guidelines. Some of the practice sessions encourage you to draw or to make some sort of image or to find images that would correspond to whatever the topic is. If that's the case, then you would either need to take a picture of the drawing that you created or the image that you created, or include the files of that when you submit the practice session. Let me continue here. If completing more than 1 practice session, try to do ones in a single sequence. For example, some practice sessions have multiple parts. So you'll notice, let me just show you some examples here. Like here, for example, these 2 practice sessions are, they're closely related. So it says practice session 1 part 1, and then there's practice session 1 part 2. So if you're going to complete more than one practice session, I'm going to strongly encourage you to do ones that are in a sequence. So these two are two different practice sessions, but they're a part of the same idea. So that would be a good idea to do. Here's an example in this one, questioning on asking questions. These three are all a part of a single sequence. You notice it's practice session 1, but it's part 1, part 2, part 3. And then, of course, when you submit the practice session, you'll want to clearly label each practice session. So make sure that you indicate which practice session it is. So does it say practice session 1 or practice session 3 or whatever the case is, and then you'll want to clearly identify the pages that it was found on. So for example here, this one is practice session 1, it's called Alice's Feet, and it's on pages 6 through 7. So at the top of your document, if you were going to do this practice session, you would just want to include this at the very top so that when I look at it, I'm not left guessing what practice session it is, where it can be found in the book. I want to make sure that's just clearly labeled so that I'm not left guessing. So these are all the practice sessions that you can choose from, and they're all from sections that we read throughout the semester. So I included the reading, and then I just followed it in the little bullet point the practice session that you could do. So you could choose any of these. There are plenty to choose from. But again, they all correspond to readings that we did throughout the semester. So that's why I want to make sure that you choose from this list. Okay, well I'm going to go ahead and end this video, and then I'll show you how to submit them through Canvas.